Welcome home, brave heroes. I'm Ash, this is AshQuest, and today we're on a quest to look for new games. I hear you, Ash, I don't need any help doing that. There's new games everywhere. I don't have enough money to buy them all, or even any of them. No, I'm talking about brand new games, hot off the freshly crowdfunded press. We're going to be looking at GameFound and Kickstarter and any other crowdfunding platforms that might have some really cool games that you might want to know about, or at least keep an eye on, or at least put down on your list of games to acquire in the near or far future. If it's one thing that I do well, it's mistreat your wallet. I am very, very mean to your wallet. And your wallet likes it, or else you wouldn't keep coming back. This is Aun Light Darkness. And this and any other game that we're looking at today is going to be readily available. I'm actually going to be uploading this video the day that I record it. So this is today. This is today, Ash. Hello. It's nice to see you. You're looking good. Are you feeling good? I'm feeling pretty good. What gets me immediately about this is that it's a dungeon crawler, obviously. It's very colorful. All of the colors just really pop. That may be a plus for some, a negative for others. There are sculpts of miniatures, doors, and furniture, so it checks all the boxes there. It seems to be quite modular in its setup, so maybe it doesn't take up a whole heck of a lot of space. So this is from Arcade Studio, and all the games that we look at, again, they're not going to be things that you only have, a few minutes left to pledge for or anything like that. We're going to be looking at some campaigns that are probably still ongoing that may close by the time you find this video, but I'm still going to put links down below so you can follow the progress of this stuff. And some of these are just going to be straight up pledge managers. In any case, you should be able to acquire the things that we're looking at today. So Aun Light Darkness, we could look at the trailer. The trailer's got some really cool animation going on, but no gameplay. So this is going to be a 1 to 5 player game. A session should take 90 minutes, playtime 90 minutes. However, here we have a 30 minutes per person, ages 14 and up. So it could be pretty crunchy, pretty complex. 14 and up is a sign that things could be pretty crunchy. I know HeroQuest was kind of an exception of this. The all-in is 300 euros. That's the Master Late Pledge. Light and Darkness, the future of narrative gaming is here. The spirit of Erune steps in as the game master, managing the storyline, dungeon, and events. Oh man, I'm weak to some of this stuff. I don't like the phone idea whatsoever. I do not like app-driven games. Perhaps hypocritically, I love the Dized app. I love app-driven tutorials because it takes command of all of my attention span. I'm not having to reread paragraphs over and over again and wonder if I'm getting something wrong and then reading ahead to find out if there's conflicting information, then looking back a couple pages to make sure what I thought I knew is still correct. Instead, I'm swiping screens back and forth for the exact same reason. Which pledge is from me? New to Erune? The Master Pledge, which is not the all-in, is 215 euros. Full content in a huge box. Get the new edition of Erune 2020 original campaign. So this came out before, I just never heard of it. If you already own Erune, you can just get the upgrade, the Light and Darkness expansion, and you're good to go. It's 147 miniatures with 470 cards and 206 tokens. Anymore, I don't see the tokens as being a plus. If you have a higher number here, that's not impressive, that's depressing. The Heroic Pledge, which is the updated edition of the original Erune content, 140 euros, does not include the Light and Darkness expansion. I would really love to know how this is played. We've got a lot of cool stuff here. We've got the map, we've got the dice tray, we've got the Light and Darkness dice set, so we have plenty of dice with lots and lots of different symbols all over them. We don't just have standard D6s. Furniture, we have doors, both closed and opened. We have 10 monster minis with this. And it looks like some of these are actually more than one miniature combined. Like we have goblins on these warg-like creatures. Something like that, looks like. That's really cool. Love that dynamic. And then I was just complaining about tokens, but if they're not like status effect tokens and they're literally just counters of the 3 main stats, like health, energy, stamina, that sort of thing, that's fine. Health, magic, energy, or health, magic, stamina. Absolutely fine. Here we go. Finally, we have some video of what potentially could be the gameplay. This was on the original Kickstarter campaign, which is linked from the page that I was just on. It is app-driven. I'm not sure if there's a manual mode where you don't need the app. I mean, now that the app is out there and published, it should be no issue whatsoever to get to the app. It should not be a problem ever at any point. The app could stop updating, but you should always be able to find a copy of the APK somewhere. That's kind of a shady thing to do. Not from these guys, but looking for APKs on non-official platforms. But that's really just addressing the only concern with app-driven things. That and like, what if you want to go to a retreat and turn off all your electronics and you don't want to have your phone on and stuff? Looks like there's a pretty decent amount of character customization and or growth, and I really don't mind a lot of cards. Your game can come with a ton of cards, depending on how those cards are used, what they're doing. But this looks like a lot of different stuff that your character can do, so maybe it would be a little bit too whelming for me. It would be too much whelm. I would be outwhelmed, so to speak, if only there was a word that I could use. I really like the colors. The design on everything is great. The colors pop. The art's pretty decent. It looks like there's different modes of play on the app itself, so that's pretty neat, actually. It can facilitate whether or not you're playing solo, or if you're controlling all the heroes or whatever yourself, or if you have a person who is playing as the game master. This right here is the bread and butter of the whole experience for me. The actual tiles on which the game is played. How is that going to work? I mean, it's pretty obvious how it works. Open door, place stuff down, go to next open door, use an ability, clear out the monsters. Really like that. Really like that. Look at that. Absolutely destroy the monster and then finish your movement. You continue on doing something else. The monk drinks a mead. So it's like a drunken master kind of situation. That's pretty cool. This looks so cool. This just looks so friggin' cool. It's the same miniature, right? Was it the same miniature? No, it's not the same miniature. It's different miniatures. They start off on their... wait, no. Why does it look like it's the same miniature? It's not, right? That's a separate one. And then they literally took the miniature either off the stand, so it is the same miniature, or there's a separate miniature that is used for the goblin riding warg situation. That's really cool. It is a goblin rider, okay. And then the monsters get to follow you into... This is really neat. I'm not gonna lie, this is highly tempting. Highly tempting. This came out in 2020 originally, though. Like, why did nobody tell me about this? Cue the one person who remembers literally telling me about this one time years ago. Look at these awesome sculpts. Everything here looks so nice. Another one going on right now is Fairy Tale by SmartUp. You can late pledge on GameFound. Link will be below. We've got a charming animal folk style of miniature here. The aesthetic is very peaceful, very woodland creature. Fantastical elements. We've got a turtle boy here wielding that is 3. It's hard to see the third one. That is a triple morning star. It is a type of flail. He'll be able to attack other turtles with it because the chain nature of the weapon will allow it to wrap around the shield of the shell. I don't know why I'm explaining this. 20 minutes per player, 1 to 4 players. Love the solo modes on these games. Like they really understand us and how alone we are. For squirrels, 14 and up. How long do squirrels live? Our story dice, rolling down the treehouse dice tower, will spark events and move NPCs, bringing our stories to life. Nothing sounds more peaceful, cozy, and whimsical than that statement. That is an incredible presentation for that. And here we have a terrible screenshot. Mechanics. This is more towards family than it is gamers. I don't know what that means. You mean it's less crunchy. It's more friendly to get around a table and jump in casually. It's more thematic than it is abstract. I absolutely agree. That should be an 11 on a scale of 1 to 10. And it's almost kind of placed in the middle between luck and strategy. There's a little bit more strategy, and that's good because games that are just luck-based aren't... Some keywords here in the mechanics involve storytelling, narrative choice, scenario and campaign game modular board, simultaneous action selection, variable player powers, battle card driven, card play conflict resolution, multi-use cards, hand management, and deck construction. So me personally, I am not a fan of deck construction and hand management myself. And I know card play conflict resolution or battle card driven is going to be a factor for a lot of folks. Might be an immediate turnoff. Let's continue though. Enchanting adventure packed with humor, drama, amazing components, and heroic house pets. Perfect for story lovers. This needs to be at the top of the page right here in a little slideshow. And it's not. I'm going to change my job. I am going to now be a designer of Kickstarter pages. Once upon a time, there lived tireless wordsmiths who labored day and night to cast their enchantments and bring this beloved board game. Oh, that's just the story of the creation of the game. Come on. Here we go. Time to gear up. Customize your hero by equipping them with different types of weapons, armor, and abilities. Look at this. Look at this carefully because I can't pause it. You have your main character disc with its health, and we've got like in the X indentations, there seem to fit tokens that are, I can't tell what they are. Hammer and sewing needle. I don't know if it's like a craft. And then we've got laurels here in the third one. Maybe that represents movement. But then you have all of these partial crescent shapes that fit onto this disc and interlock with it and each other to create your very unique player. You have this wonderful woodland theme of these tokens that are specifically cut out to fit in these spots. And I'm sure that there are, like where this pine cone shaped token goes, or where this acorn or apple shaped token goes. There was an acorn on the screen, I swear. There's specific wording, but there are probably multiple tokens that have different words that fit into these. But like each item is probably very much themed towards a particular play style. Like all the pine cones would be for like your damage dealers, your ones that are able to whip around the board and attack enemies, but then maybe don't necessarily have tank-like qualities, and so on. Just kind of spitballing here, just guessing. That would make sense from a design standpoint. Then you've got like the kind of clothing you could wear on another disc section. And then you've got the weapon that you're actually wielding on another with its stats. And you've got tokens that fill in there. I don't know if that's number of attacks or attack strength, or if there's like a charge value. That's really interesting to me though. That's fascinating. Here we have another shot, a different character. We've got some dice in this one now. The apple token, which says on hit, inflict 1 damage to another unit. And I can confirm that the apple token in this dancer cat example has different text on it. So why support us now? Reap a discount of up to 15% off the MSRP. This is available now. It's got the all-in pledge and late pledge here. For 174 euros, this will ship by November 2025. It's got stable pledge and it does allow for stretch pay, an important detail I probably should have looked at in the last campaign that we viewed for Erune. You get the Fairy Tale board game, the Beloved Classics expansion, Tales of the Evergreen Forest, the Storyteller's Bookmark, come on, and the Moral Dilemmas expansion. All right, the Beloved Classic expansion, the box is tree-shaped with a magnetic lock. That is so thematic. That is such a presentation. I don't know that I love it, but you can tell by the shape of the map tiles how they're going to be in that box, and you will not have anything else like this on your shelf. That is a fact. Anyways, I was drawn to this not just because of the whimsical art style, but because of the sculpts as well. We have this Eve the Rabbit hero miniature. John the Pig. Looks like they get action cards. They are very oddly shaped cards. Custom shaped, yeah. Hero board parts. 2 defense player board parts. Those are defense player board parts. Interesting. 2 offense player board parts. 2 armor player board parts. 4 weapon player board parts. Okay, I'm a little bit sad to see that although there's a modular design to the player boards, that they do seem to all have the same kind of layout and information. At that point, why not just make it all one unit? But it's fine. Maybe it's not like that. I did see some player board sections did have different cutouts in the dancing cat character example. We have 2 chain armor tokens, custom shaped, leather armor, plate armor. Yeah, these do look different. They are different cutouts. You're only allowed to equip 1 type of these. Now, I don't know what the swap this section of your character board action economy looks like. Maybe it doesn't exist, but unless that's there, yeah, you'd be stuck with 1 type of armor. Not a bad thing or a good thing, just an observation. We have cast and hex dice. We have a hero basket, 25. Why? Nice. We've got raccoon miniatures, enemies. We have weasels. There's Bangro, the wild boar, wooden components for health and attack, and 1 lore book with 10 replayable scenarios, and the lore book is hex-shaped. 18 centimeters side to side, 40 pages. The 10 highly repeatable, and that's in bold, stories in this lore book are inspired by famous fairy tales of yore and expanded into a fully explorable world brimming with magic, mischief, and delight. So dive into an enchanting world full of fairy tales, complete missions, and objectives to gather Ever Gems. And it looks like our Ever Gems go into this basket. Playing Fairy Tale is like diving into a magical storybook where every turn brings a new and enchanting adventure. The game combines beautiful artwork with engaging mechanics, making it a delight for both seasoned players and newcomers alike. And you know what? There is a pug from Pug and Play. Here we go. It's a saw and hammer. So I'm getting crafting vibes from those. I see interlocking tokens that make the play area, but I don't know what they mean. All the boxes are shaped like these logs that have been felled. That's still a really cool idea. You definitely won't be able to stack these on top of each other, and doesn't look like you'll be able to like position them upright. Maybe you could. I'm just thinking ahead here, like how would I store this? We have beautiful treasure chests out here on the land spaces. Here we go. Each character was lovingly sketched by hand, capturing the heart of our world, while our graphic designers, like master enchanters, used the Adobe Suite and AI tools to weave the final touches of wonder into every detail. You are the chosen one, Anakin. The Dungeon Dive has covered this, so we could get a much more in-depth look by checking out the video for it on the Dungeon Dive. You can embark on any adventure with just one hero. Simply roll the underdog dice and see how far you can go. What do you mean, see how far I can go? Anyways, we've got the late pledge for 174 euros. We've got the core pledge for 92. I mean the all-in. The all-in is only 174 euros. And I say only like it's a small amount. It's not really a small amount of money, but I mean at the same time, for an all-in pledge that has a ton of board game content, that's generally not a bad price. You can also just get this stuff individually, the Moral Dilemmas expansion, the Beloved Classics expansion. Really like the presentation. The sculpts especially, and the artwork on the tiles. Okay, this one's at the top of Game Found. I've been seeing this one quite a bit. It's the Isofarian Guard, Veilward. Veilward is an expansion to the Isofarian Guard, Isofarian, and it gives you 2 new guards, but this game looks supremely crunchy. Kind of seems like if I want to play a game like this, I should play Elder Scrolls, Betrayal of the Second Era, and I'm not comparing the 2 games necessarily directly, I'm just saying I already have that game. A skull chip means you found an enemy in the wild. The battle phase then begins against enemies found at that location. There are 3 unique enemy encounters at each node. Once in battle, you'll utilize the bag building system. Draw chips from each of the guards' bags and activate various abilities while balancing your resources to defeat the enemies. Okay, so it does seem actually quite a bit different, but Joey Evans at the Dice Tower says, this has one of my favorite battle mechanics ever in a game. Every pull of a chip from the bag is tense the way a battle should be. It's not just luck. The mitigation is on point, and you feel like when the battle finally gets there, it's all about what preparation you've done. Do you streamline your bag, or do you maximize it? Every nuance of the game is so well thought out, from the story to the travel to the storage to the production. I see. Drawing tokens from a bag. We've got that in Maladon. I think we have that in the Elder... We do have that in the Elder Scrolls, Betrayal of the Second Era. It feels different from drawing a card from a deck that you've built, for sure. It may come off as more fiddly for some folks, but the mechanic is almost exactly the same. Looks like it's very combat heavy, like most games are, but it's pretty. It is pretty. And I have a thing for ring-bound books. Foreteller, your tabletop, our stage. Check out the 2 videos below to listen to a couple scenes from the base game. It looks like it's pretty low fantasy as well. Like, everything's pretty realistic. These people don't look like mages or anything. They've got spears, they've got horns, they've got swords, they've got shields, giant hammers. It's still different from slinging a fireball. Having a hammer that big is still different. Early in the story, you'll arrive at Fort Istra, which is the home base for the guards. So we have token moving on grid system. Is that how the battle mechanics play out? Or you can rebuild this fort to unlock new game systems and mechanics which will aid you in your quest. Each time a building is built and upgraded, you'll place the building's puzzle piece in the fort's map. That is pretty cool. You can play as long as you'd like for each session. When you're done, you'll use the game trays system to simply snap the lid over the components, holding them in place until you decide to play again. I love that. That's also in the Elder Scrolls, Betrayal of the Second Era. Was this made by the same people? Absolutely not. This is from Sky Kingdom Games, not Chip Theory. I wasn't saying that anybody copied anything. I was just like, no need to reinvent the wheel. Once you have something down that works, it's like, keep using that. So this is just the expansion. You can get the everything new pledge, but you can also get the base game pledge. We would not be looking at this if you could not add the base game to your overall pledge. The base game, however, is $220 USD. At least we get a USD price for my US viewers. That means your shipping is not going to be overly licentious. Did I just call shipping licentious? Yes. Shipping is outright lewd. Agricola Special Edition is something I've been looking at in the Discord, and this project is funded. You can follow it. It's not something you can back right now. It very recently ended, but I'm more than willing to bet that this is going to reach a late pledge stage. So if you are really interested in this, you may be able to get this. Just keep an eye on it. The miniatures here of the hardworking farmers, villager NPCs really caught my eye and made me strongly consider backing this just to get the townspeople pack for use as NPCs in HeroQuest. I didn't end up doing that, but I did see this grow from its inception, and it's got a lot of stuff. Agricola can be a massive game. This isn't a dungeon crawler, it's a lot more farm management, resource management. But the way that the expansions are laid out, you have ones that are just for like themes, so 3D animals, stables, and fences, 3D resources, 3D houses, 3D changelings and llamas. That is the wildest expansion name I have ever heard of in a game, period. It takes the cake. 3D changelings and llamas. There is something so absolutely crazy about the mythical creature, the llama, being included in the name of an expansion. 5th and 6th player expansions, which aren't like thematic, but just add on to the mechanics in a way that expands it to more players. The acrylic pack. And then you get like all creatures, big and small, and family. If you want absolutely everything, you'll get the Master of the Land pledge whenever this goes into late pledge, which it doesn't say that it will, but it will. And that's 459 euros. The standard edition is 79 euros. That's the cardboard edition. This whole thing, this whole presentation and business model kind of reminds me of maybe like Carcassonne. I don't think it's a similar game by any means, but I don't know anything about it. I just think that the minis look really, really cool. And there is a pack of just the minis here, the people in the rewards tier. So if you're wanting those NPCs, like I was considering getting for your HeroQuest game, you'll check this out and just keep it as a bookmark. You can still late pledge for available rewards for Darkleaf Gambit, which reignites your chessboard's magic. All right, so if you like chess and I like chess, this seems like it would be a pretty cool way to take your chessboard and create a fantasy game with it. So what is Darkleaf Gambit? It is an entirely new game for your chess set, perfect for quick, intense duels that blend classic charm and modern asymmetrical mechanics, whether played on a family heirloom or a steal from the local thrift store. That's pretty cool because it doesn't come with a chess set, which it easily could have, but you can just go to Dollar Tree and pick up a chess set for like $1.25, $3. You can go to Dollar General, you can go to Poundland, you can go to the Daiso, the 100 yen store, maybe not the Daiso, maybe not. But you can literally get a chess set from almost anywhere, and it could really be any kind of chess set, and that might really color the flavor of the theme for you. Bring your keen mind for strategy, but otherwise, no chess experience is required to play Darkleaf Gambit. I'm sure it's because it's going to tell you how all of the pieces move, but you can take control of one of 6 clans: Huldra, the Merg, Ferryman, Erda, the Wildero Weibo, and the Hexen. Going over that again, it looks like nature elves, farming robots, humans that like to row, earth golems, mushroom creatures, and humans again, but that like to wear hoods and set things on fire. It sounds like my kind of person. Gather 6 dice, 1 mighty clan board, and assign fate chips to their skills. Configure your units around Haggadorn, that mythical forest commonly mistaken for a chessboard, as depicted on the clan guide. See, there's such an opportunity to provide an 8x8 board with tiles. You wouldn't even have to supply your own chess pieces. I guess it's supremely simple to make homebrew for this and just make your own, really. Gameplay is turn-based and begins with a roll of the die, which powers and limits every action. Will you hunt with the Huldra's ranged attack or hazard a close confrontation with the Merg? Slot the die and acquire power. You can slot the rolled die in your clan board to power miracles, relics, auras, and laws. I just thought that this was neat. I don't think that this is necessarily on my list, but it is something that is definitely neat. And I do know how to play chess, and I can play a pretty mean game of chess. I don't know if the chess knowledge actually helps me with playing this game at all, since no chess experience is needed, but if I were dead set on getting this, the Darkleaf Gambit Standard Edition is $59 USD, and that is a whopping 15% off the $69, nice, MSRP. The Kickstarter Edition is $79 USD, includes 36 handcrafted smoky dice, and there's not a bigger edition of that, so there's not like a huge amount of 85 boxes of expansions, and no hate for the games that do that, but sometimes you can't, even if you want to, accommodate that size of thing. So this is a campaign preview, so this game has not released yet. It is not being crowdfunded for yet, but this is SCP, the board game Confidential Crisis, which is a co-op game for 2 to 4 players based on the SCP Foundation universe. Level up your security level and develop your own character against powerful SCPs. Now, the grammar here makes me kind of wonder about the quality of this. Plus, I'm not entirely convinced that anybody can level up against Keter class SCPs. You're not going to win in a fight, but there has to be a game, so maybe the player characters themselves are somewhat SCPs. The minis are going to be 35mm for the D-class personnel. Those are your normal humans. MTF junior agents are 25mm. Why? Why would you make them different sizes? But your SCPs are going to be the centerfold of this presentation. The Scarlet King is going to be 110mm. Most SCPs measure 80mm, and smaller SCPs like 999 and the Half Cat will be 35mm. If you're a fan of the SCP universe, this might be right up your alley. I need to see more. I guess there was an original campaign, and the presentation of this original campaign is really going to sell me or not on backing this one. Stop with the fade outs. Something is coming soon. This is kind of what I want to see, but it's not showing me enough of it. Oh, and it's over. We have another campaign preview, this time from Ravensburger, revisiting their classic Labyrinth property. This is Labyrinth Chronicles. The campaign is scheduled for Q1 2026. I think that it's quite a bit early to be showing a campaign preview. One of the most popular board games, over 30 million sold copies, now back with an Ultimate Edition. This is Labyrinth Chronicles. Yes, this is the amazing Labyrinth. Easy to learn, hard to master. I don't think Labyrinth is a game you can master in general, but this comes with 3D walls and the most complete and polished edition. It's either polished or it's Polish. It's the navigate your character through the maze and grab the Wiener Schnitzel. That was a stupid gaffe. That's from Germany or maybe Austria. This Polish food is like pierogies. Navigate the maze and collect all of the pierogies on your cards. Look at the colors of those doors, though. Look at these portals. That's really nice. Each one has a different color. Instead of 4 wizards, we've got 4 very different looking adventurers that don't necessarily have to be wizards. Love the 3D components. This reminds me a lot of the Minotaur's Maze, which we'll take a look at that one as well, because that counts in what I'm trying to do here. But this does come with building boxes. The Inn, the Enchanter's Hut, Our House, Ghost Shrine. Unlock new components, rules, and possibilities as you play. Rebuild the village inside the main box using magnetic tokens. That's highly interesting. I'm going to riot if this is using AI art, though. Ravensburger does not have to do that. High quality miniatures. We've got 4 colors of portal miniatures. We've got character models. We only get to see this one up close and personal, but it kind of looks like she might have a prosthetic arm, which would be really, really interesting. Very cool. I love 3D Labyrinth component. This is nice. This is just really awesome to see. Studio Rookwurst is creating Minotaur Maze, which is still launching soon. 2 to 4 players, 30 to 45 minutes, 5 minutes to learn. I've got a couple of videos about this on my channel already if you'd like to go seek those out. This is not ready to back yet, but it is something to bookmark if you have not heard of it. This is actually created by Floris, the man behind ReproQuest, who has likely supplied you with some very hard to seek after components for your classic RPGs and tabletop dungeon crawlers. This is grassroots, and you can't get more independent than this. And what he's managed to do here in the design of this game is fairly interesting and quite neat, and still very, very simple and very play tested. And everybody who's tested it and played it seems to have a blast. So that is all the time I have today to showcase these projects. Let me know if you found this information useful. If you would like to see this sort of video every now and again, maybe once a month, we'll revisit the Kickstarter scene and see what new dungeon crawlers are out there. I would love this kind of feedback from you guys. So if you're not as interested in this, I guess I'll see the numbers kind of not be very high. But if you are, definitely let me know. Push this around. And if there's a project that you would like to recommend me kind of signal boost, I will take a look at it, and if it falls within the rigid confines and constructs of my prison-like structure of gaming convention, so if it's a game with cardboard and plastic basically, and maybe dice, then I will feature it on the channel, and I'll put a link to it in the description below, and I'll give you a bit of credit so your efforts are rewarded. Until next time, brave adventurers, I'll see you in the next exciting adventure. Farewell for now.